Doctors, nurses, workers in care homes, residents in care homes. These groups are expected soon to be confirmed by the government as priorities for testing as the system struggles to keep up with demand. More questions to the Prime Minister on this today, but from Labour's deputy leader, as the party leader had been isolating while one of his children waited for a test result.
They've had 6 months, Mr. Speaker, to get this right, and yet the Prime Minister still can't deliver on his promises. The Health Secretary said yesterday it would take weeks to sort the situation out. Well, Mr. Speaker, we don't have weeks.
Boris Johnson said Britain was now testing more than any other European country, and the problem was not supply but demand.
What is happening, Mr. Speaker, is that the British people, quite understandably, are responding to that system with a huge surge in demand. And so it's very important that everybody follows the guidance about when they should be getting a test.
That advice is still get tested if you have symptoms. But what about those not on the priority list? Teachers' unions worry they may be kept off.
You've got, for example, a secondary school with 8 members of staff. Well, all of those classes need to be covered. And we need to know whether the members of staff will be back or not. And the only way you'll know that is whether they're tested or not. This is unravelling by the second, and it's leaving young people hugely disadvantaged.
The bottleneck's mainly in processing capacity in laboratories. This head of a testing lab in Cambridge says tests have to be prioritised now. They are still getting requests to clear people for travel.
We're getting a lot of demand for people asking for fit-to-fly certificates and things like that. Now, for me, that's not important. You know, what is important is making sure that the hotspots are being dealt with, the care homes are being dealt with, vulnerable people are being tested. Frontline workers need to be tested. So I think the tests do need to be prioritised without any question.
OK, and that's not happening at the moment as far as you're concerned?
No, not at all.
As we go into the autumn, more and more people will develop COVID-like symptoms. With priorities or not within the system, the pressure on it will be with us for some time yet.
Well, Andy joins us now from Westminster. And Andy, Boris Johnson has been speaking to a committee of MPs this afternoon. He's addressed the schools issue. What did he say?
Yes, he was keen to clarify one aspect of what happens in schools. He said that if a teacher or a pupil has symptoms and goes home to isolate, he said everyone else in the bubble as constituted by the school should not go home then. They would only go home, or they wouldn't go home, unless and until that person had tested positive, the person who originally had symptoms, because I think there's been some confusion. The government's been a bit concerned about that. He was also pressed by another questioner, another MP, to say, could the country afford a lockdown of the type that happened in March? He said he was trying to do everything to avoid that, but when pressed on that, he said he thought that would be economically disastrous.